Before we get started, I'd like to thank Chris with the K for a recent super chat. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
A scene right out of a horror movie.
Just mostly shock and awe that something like this could happen in our small town.
This is one of the most brutal, horrific murders I've seen, not only in this county, but in the state.
This is like all the serial killer, Bundy, Dahmer.
Help me. Help me.
This is a monster.
It is one of the worst I've seen in my career of 35 years.
I can't even imagine anybody doing something like that.
He had cut off his testicles and eaten them.
I guess you never know who your neighbors are.
This man should never be let out of prison.
Hi everyone, my name's Anne, but I also go by my nickname Nini. I like to focus on Midwest true crime because I'm a Minnesota farmer's daughter. Today we're going to go to Michigan and talk about the Christmas Eve murder of Kevin Bacon. In 1994, Carl and Pamela Bacon lived in Lansing, Michigan with their 1-year-old daughter Jennifer. On November 28, 1994, they welcomed their second child, a boy they named Kevin Richard. It wasn't the plan to name their son after the actor Kevin Bacon. Carl said he wanted his son to have the same initials as him, and the actor wasn't as famous as he later became. Jenny was a little jealous of her baby brother because she was used to being the only child. When she saw him for the first time, she tried to bite him in his face. But they eventually grew very close. Jenny was born with a disability that affected her motor skills, and Kevin was protective of her, even though he was the younger sibling. They loved to learn dance choreography together, and Kevin could do the moves faster, but would slow down and go at his sister's pace. In 2004, the family moved to Swartz Creek, which is about 20 miles from Flint. Kevin loved playing with Hot Wheels, video games, and Barbies. It was through Barbies that a love of styling hair began. When he got bored with Barbie's hair, he started styling family members' hair.
He would try to French braid his mom's hair and other family members' hair.
Oh yeah, he loves hair. He was good at his hair. That was his favorite thing of all, besides his friends and family.
When he became an adult, he worked in various hair salons and impressed people with his skills. A manager of one of the salons he worked at said Kevin was an artist when it came to hair. One of the things Kevin enjoyed the most about doing hair was the smile it put on his client's face. Kevin made people look better on the outside and feel better on the inside. I think we can all relate to getting your hair cut or colored and you walk out of the salon with a little bit more pep in your step than you did when you walked in. Kevin's favorite thing to do with hair was color because he could be creative. Due to genetics, he started going bald in his early 20s, but he loved to dye his own hair different bright colors. Kevin stood out in a crowd, literally and figuratively. He grew to be 6'2" and husky. Kevin expressed himself through his style. He wore makeup, painted his nails, carried a purse, and once dyed his eyebrows blue. One of the best qualities about Kevin was that he was not afraid to be who he was. He embraced his differences and did not judge others for their differences. This made everyone love Kevin. Kevin was someone people could talk to about anything and not feel judged or looked down upon.
Kevin was a kind-hearted person who enjoyed his life, his work. He was a very good hairstylist. He had a natural talent for it. He was a very joyful person, very sociable person, and everybody who knew him enjoyed being around him.
He was a good person, he was compassionate, he cared for the people he met, cared for the people he worked with.
And he loved everybody.
He loved everyone.
He was very accepting for people's differences. He was very open to meeting new people and just very friendly. He had pink hair and nails painted. He wore a purple purse and he just walked around and didn't let what anybody thought affect him.
Something I always admired about Kevin is he was never afraid to express himself. He was not afraid to be this big bald man with a pink polo and a purse and his nails done.
I couldn't say anything but nice things about him.
Everyone says he's just the nicest guy, and it is 100% true. He could bright up any room that he walked into.
He was just always so friendly and nice to everyone he met. He always could put a smile on anyone's face.
He was very outgoing, talked to anybody, good-hearted, never turned his back on nobody.
He was a one-of-a-kind person, wonderful smile, bubbling personality, just a warm spirit. It was like sunshine wherever he went.
He had this light about him, this sparkling personality. It drew you to him.
I just want everyone to think of rainbows when they think about Kevin, because that's what he was.
Kevin was very close with his grandma Ann. When she was diagnosed with cancer and lost her hair due to chemo, Kevin helped her pick out wigs. When she lost her battle with cancer, Kevin read her eulogy. He got his first tattoo in honor of her, a hummingbird because she loved them. When his other grandma passed away, Grandma Pat, he got a rose tattoo to honor her love of roses. In 6th grade, Kevin started playing in band and continued until he graduated. This began a strong love of music. His favorites were Taylor Swift, Britney Spears, and Shania Twain. Lady Gaga was one of his idols because her music spoke to him. In middle school, Kevin told his family he was gay, so as he learned to live life as an openly gay man, Lady Gaga's music helped him express himself. While he was in high school, Kevin got a dog named Hannah and a cat named Pokey. Later, he got another cat named Fuzzy. Kevin adored his pets and was a huge cat lover. Kevin was in AP classes and graduated in the top 10 of his class. He earned a cosmetology license from Sharps Academy and began working in salons. In 2017, Kevin started studying psychology at the University of Michigan Flint. He wanted to help elderly people after he graduated. In 2018, he started working in the college's Center for Gender and Sexuality as a peer educator. Being an advocate for the LGBTQ community and spreading awareness about sexual violence were important to Kevin. Kevin struggled with depression and body image ever since he was a teenager. He developed unhealthy coping methods such as self-harm and emotional eating. In October 2018, he took too many pills and had his stomach pumped. He sought outpatient psychiatric treatment, and doctors put him on different antidepressants, but couldn't find one that helped. Kevin had used online dating apps ever since he was a teen, and he mostly used Grindr, which is basically Tinder for gay and bisexual men. Kevin's online dating sometimes got out of control. He sought attention from men, and it didn't seem to matter if it was good attention or bad attention. Some men were for casual hookups, but some men he did try to date and form a relationship with. Unfortunately, Kevin met a lot of bad men. Men would be psychologically abusive, or they would just use Kevin. A friend said Kevin just wanted to feel loved and accepted, and I think we all can relate to that. In the final year of his life, Kevin moved 4 times trying to find a good fit. The last place he lived was in the basement of his friend, Michelle Myers. They had been friends since grade school. Kevin's beloved pets stayed with his parents. That final year was challenging for Kevin. His grades slipped because it was hard to balance work with being a full-time college student. He bounced from different hair salons due to being unhappy. Kevin dreamed of moving to Chicago, which was about 4 hours from Swartz Creek. He enjoyed being close to family and friends, but Swartz Creek was a small town. It had around 6,000 people. It was a simple town and didn't have too much for excitement. Kevin had friends who lived in Chicago that he'd visit. He felt there would be more job opportunities in Chicago and a larger gay community. Before he could move to Chicago, Kevin needed to save up money. This was hard for him because he often struggled with his finances. In the fall of 2019, a friend said Kevin seemed to be at his lowest. He wanted to move to Chicago but couldn't afford to. He was struggling in college, and a relationship had ended. He spent time in a mental hospital twice that fall. However, by November, Kevin was feeling much better. He was seeing a therapist and had begun to journal as a healthy coping method. He felt focused to improve his grades. Kevin had tons of plans for the future. He wanted to get a master's degree, get married, and have kids. It was a situation where he had every detail of his wedding planned out. He just needed the groom. He was a huge cat lover and always wanted to be a crazy cat dad, as he put it. On November 28th, Kevin turned 25 years old. Kevin loved Michelle, but he didn't enjoy living in her basement. He made plans to move in with a former manager named Kathy, who was a second mom to him. She owned several cats, and Kevin was looking forward to being surrounded by kitties. Kevin didn't want to hurt Michelle's feelings by moving out, so he was waiting until after the holidays to tell her. On Christmas Eve 2019, Kevin finished a shift at Uniquely You Salon. Then his mom and sister Jenny came to the salon to get their hair done. Kevin had plans to go to supper with his mom and sister, but learned someone he didn't like was going to be at supper. So Kevin went home after finishing their hair. He picked up his phone and opened the Grindr app. For the past few days, Kevin had been chatting with a man named Olikos. They made plans to meet up that night for the first time, have some fun, then go home. Kevin left the house around 5:20 p.m. On Christmas morning, the Bacon family gathered at 9 a.m. for breakfast and to open presents. Kevin didn't show up. At first, the family wasn't too worried because Kevin was a night owl, so they thought maybe he was sleeping in. But every time they called him, it went straight to voicemail as if the phone had been turned off. They talked to Kevin's friends, and they hadn't heard from him either. Michelle said she last saw Kevin when he left for his date the night before. She said she last heard from him at 6:11 p.m. when he texted, "Okay, well, I'm going to be out for a while, actually. This is going to be fun. He's inviting more men. Married, miss. Not sure when I'll be back. Probably will be out late, so if mom calls you, I'm sleeping. Haha." Kevin's dad filed a missing persons report. Instead of spending Christmas Day opening presents and being with loved ones, Kevin's friends and family spent the day searching for him. That night, Kevin's parents and sister drove around Swartz Creek looking for him. They found his 2007 white Saturn Aura abandoned in the parking lot of Family Dollar. The next day, they went back to the parking lot with police and had them search his car. Kevin's phone and Coach wristlet were in the car. They also found a grocery bag in the back seat that held the clothes Kevin was wearing when he left the house. Police began to look at the digital evidence on Kevin's phone. Meanwhile, family and friends formed search parties and went on social media and turned to the news for help. Police found messages between Kevin and his Christmas Eve date, whose name on Grindr was Olikos Kai Lucas. Police found out this was actually 50-year-old Mark Latunski, who lived in nearby Morris. They made plans for Mark to pick up Kevin and go to Kevin's house and have some BDSM fun. Kevin asked Mark if he would be safe. Mark responded, "I will show you how I am going to transport you and let you determine if I am trustworthy. You will see that I am concerned about your safety and theirs." Once police knew who Kevin had met with a date, they didn't waste any time. A little before 1 a.m. on December 28th, they drove to Mark's house. Police said they were looking for a missing man named Kevin Bacon and asked to search his house. Mark said he didn't know Kevin Bacon, but had no objections to them searching his house. 2 police officers chatted with Mark in his living room while other officers searched the home. Mark was calm and didn't seem nervous. The house was cluttered and messy, but there was no sign of Kevin on the first floor or upper floor. Police went down to the basement and searched there. One wall had wood on it, and it took them a minute to realize it was a hidden door that only locked from the outside. One officer slid the door open and discovered a scene that is probably going to haunt him for the rest of his life. A naked man was hanging upside down from the ceiling.
Pulled my head back and exclaimed, "Oh my God, oh my God."
The man had been stabbed in the back, his throat slit, and his testicles had been cut off. There was a pool of blood on the floor and blood splatter on the walls. The room had some leather straps, a blindfold, and other bondage items. Police compared the tattoos this man had to Kevin's and confirmed it was Kevin Bacon. Mark was arrested and put in the back seat of a police car. Mark was cooperative, but he was a very mentally disturbed man, and it began to show.
Do you know what's going on? Do you know why you're in the back of this car?
Yes, I know why I'm back in the back of this car.
Okay, well, I just want to let you know, I got my detective en route. My detective's probably going to want to talk to you, okay?
That's fine.
All right, I just wanted to let you know.
And then once I talk to him, how am I going to get back home?
Well, let's get stage 1 first, okay? Let's get the detective out here.
Absolutely. And then I can explain to him all the things that you guys don't know.
Okay.
And then I can come back home.
How do you pronounce your last name? Latunski?
That's the name that you're going to have me in your system as, yes. Do I look like a black-haired, black-eyed gimp?
What do you mean?
Latunski.
Oh, is that what that means?
Yes. The Latunskis are all black-haired, black-eyed gimps.
What's your other name that you go by?
Edgar Thomas Hill.
How'd they get Latunski?
I was raised by Latunski.
Oh, okay.
I went to Battle Creek, picked up this guy. He had his leg amputated below the knee. And he was the one who helped me decorate the palm tree.
Oh, really?
You want to know what electricity has done for me?
What's that?
It allowed my next-door neighbor to shove arsenic into a hole and put it into my well and every well downstream for 2 miles. All my veins just dropped off.
Which one?
The one that I wear on my How do you turn a black-haired, black-eyed boy who was born a cripple into a blonde-haired, blue-eyed boy who's Norwegian?
Got gloves?
Get some gloves. You don't want to touch anything that's been touching his.
After the sun came up, a Michigan state trooper went to Kevin's parents' house and told them that Kevin had been murdered. Jenny said her father went into his bedroom and sobbed. She went back to sleep, hoping it was just a dream and she'd wake up and her brother would still be with them. Police sat down with Mark for an interrogation. He still didn't make any sense about his name.
Exactly where is Mark Latunski? He was born in 1969. He has black hair, he has brown eyes, and he was born a cripple. I'm sitting here as the only living Thomas of Wales that I've been able to find. I reached out to the people in Great Britain to find out if there are any more. I don't think there are any left except for me. Why am I Mark David Latunski? I'm not. And you knew it, and I knew it. But having that stolen identity kept me alive when all of the rest of my family is not. That is what the New York banker finally said. Bingo.
He never denied killing Kevin, but said Kevin asked him to do it.
He described the things that he wanted. I did what I could to bring those things about. We made the agreement, and he was supposed to disappear.
The afternoon of Christmas Eve, Mark went to Walmart and bought the knife. Mark and Kevin planned to do a kidnapping role play. They met in the Family Dollar parking lot. Mark had Kevin take off his clothes and leave them in Kevin's car.
Take what you have, take it off, put it in this bag. And he said, you know what, can I text a friend and say, I'm just going to be out? And he says, okay, now that I've sent it, I'm going to turn my phone off. And I says, look, this way you're leaving everything behind, and it's like, done.
Mark handcuffed and blindfolded Kevin and put him in his back seat. He covered him with a blanket so nobody would be able to see him.
I can see it now. We get stopped by the cop. The cop looks in the back. He sees you all tied up. He says, what's that? And I says, don't worry. It's okay. It's consensual. The cop is going to undo you and he's going to say, is this consensual? And you're going to say, yes. I says, if you don't say yes, then you better hope that I never get out of prison.
At Mark's house, they had consensual sex. Then Mark led Kevin down to the basement while he was still blindfolded. Once they were in Mark's dungeon, Mark stabbed Kevin in the back. He then slit Kevin's throat, killing him. Mark tied rope to Kevin's feet and used a pulley to hang him upside down. The most shocking part is what Mark did after he cut off Kevin's testicles.
I started to do what I told him I was going to do. I was going to eat part of him, and I did.
Was that his wishes?
It was the discussion. Whatever is consumable is consumable. It was the new moon, and honoring my word to what I said I would do. That was when I took I cut them out, and I took them upstairs and I ate them. I eat Rocky Mountain oysters anyway. Sure. I had learned to just take the Rocky Mountain oysters, then slice them, put them onto the griddle, put some Worcestershire sauce on them, and I figured if it works for those, it should work for these.
Kevin's DNA was found in Mark's frying pan. Mark went to bed covered in Kevin's blood.
I had done what I needed to do. I could wash this off. Nope. I'm not going to wash him off. I went upstairs and I crawled into bed. I'm done. I did it. I complied. And I went to sleep.
Mark had plans to do other things with Kevin's body parts.
I took the sand where the blood was and I shoveled out one bucket and I put it on the hyacinths.
If no one had shown up at the house, what were you going to do with his body?
His internals were going to go out back, and I was going to put the peach pits in them. The rest of them I have chestnut, and I had been meaning to plant them before, but really never had anything to grow them with. I was just going to crush up the bones into bone meal and pair them with tulip bulbs. The muscle portion was going to go into the dehydrator that I purchased.
To eat like jerky?
Basically, yeah. Continue to process the whey and do what he wanted me to do.
You would have taken more of his body and put it in the dehydrator?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mark really thought he had done an honorable thing, and this was Kevin's wishes.
I don't feel that I did anything wrong. Am I going to be able to go back home and take care of the dog, or do you know, or what?
I don't know yet.
I'm tired and I want to get some sleep, and today's a gym day.
Mark was charged with open murder and mutilation of a dead body. Open murder is when the degree of murder is determined after someone is found guilty. Kevin's family and friends had to deal with the shock of losing Kevin in such a horrid way.
I don't know how to feel.
I'm kind of getting numb to it all.
He shouldn't have had to go through what he did.
He didn't deserve this. Not Kevin.
It was just so good, and he didn't deserve this.
Kevin left behind him a whole group of people that loved him and that he loved in return.
His poor parents to have to hear the details of what happened to their son.
It's gut-wrenching to hear the details.
Sick to my stomach.
Yeah.
And I just want him punished for everything he did.
Evil does exist, and it touched us.
Kevin Bacon, the actor, posted on Instagram on December 30th. For obvious reasons, I'm thinking this morning about the friends and family of this young person, Kevin Bacon. His life was taken from him much too soon. His love was hairdressing. I bet he would have done a great job on this mess on my head. R.I.P. KB. Beauty guru Jeffree Star tweeted about Kevin and released a short video. He encouraged people to donate to a GoFundMe that had been set up for funeral expenses. Jeffree was one of Kevin's idols. One of his tattoos was of Jeffree.
It's beautiful and tragic at the same time that, Jeffree's reached out and done all this, but Kevin's not here for any of it.
The goal of the GoFundMe was to raise $20,000. Jeffree donated $20,000 himself. Just hours after Jeffree tweeted about the GoFundMe, it had raised $34,000. Kevin's funeral was held on January 3rd, 2020. He was buried in a suit and his favorite purple shirt. His friend Kat requested to do his makeup. The funeral home put a heavy base layer foundation on him because he was quite discolored. Kat said she did the best she could to honor Kevin, and she, quote, wanted Kevin to feel his beautiful self for eternity, unquote. The outpouring of love for Kevin was tremendous. A candlelight vigil was held at the high school. The university's Center for Gender and Sexuality held a celebration of life to honor him. They designed a bear and gave him a little purse, just like Kevin used to have. Kevin's parents were grateful for the help they received in looking for Kevin, and they were touched to realize so many people had loved their son.
First of all, I'd like to say thank you for bringing my son home to us so we can give him the dignified burial that he deserved. I was afraid that the suspect may have done more harm to him than what he already did. Right. If we didn't push as hard in the search as we did.
It wasn't the outcome we wanted, but we appreciated what everyone has stepped up to do. It's just all overwhelming.
It's just overwhelming.
It's really appreciated. It just shows us how much our son has been really appreciated more than we ever realized.
I guess social media has turned out to be can be a good thing or it could be a bad thing, depending on the circumstances, I guess.
Kevin's murder was brutal and gruesome. What would cause a man to do something like that? Mark Latunski was born in 1969 in Michigan. He was extremely intelligent. He was valedictorian in high school and earned a master's degree in chemistry from Iowa State. He had a successful career as a chemist and reportedly earned $100,000 a year at one point. Mutual friends set up Mark with a preschool teacher named Emily. She thought Mark had a gentle spirit and was kind. Mark and Emily got married in August 2001 and moved to Mark's hometown of Morris, Michigan. They bought a house at 703 Tyrell Road and began fixing it up. It was on 4 acres and in a quiet area. This was where Mark and Emily planned to raise their children and grow old together. The basement was in very poor shape, so they raised the house and put in a new foundation and basement. They added 4 children to their family. Mark set up a playroom in the basement for his kids. I know it's super cliche to say this, but the Latunskis were a perfectly happy, normal family until things started to change. One day, Emily found a naked picture of a man on Mark's computer.
He told me that he just wanted to make sure that he measured up, that I was okay with how he looked and that he was okay for me. And I was like, you're fine. You don't have to compare yourself to anybody else. You're fine just the way you are.
In 2010, Mark's mental health began to go downhill and he had abnormal thoughts. He told people he was the heir of a big trust fund, which wasn't true. He said he wasn't his mother's son, but was her brother. He said he was not Mark Latunski, but was given that name to protect himself. Obviously, this concerned Emily, so she brought him to a mental hospital where Mark stayed for 5 days. They put him on medication and sent him home. Once he was home, he told Emily he didn't need the medication and he stopped taking it. You do have to wonder if Mark had just taken his medication, if his life would have had an entirely different outcome. One day, Mark confessed to Emily that he had cheated on her.
He had slept with men on his business trips and that he had gone on the internet and found people to sleep with.
Mark didn't want Emily to leave him. He promised he would stop cheating. They tried marriage counseling, but Mark didn't put serious effort into it. Eventually, he went back to having affairs with men. Each day, Mark's grip on reality seemed to get looser. He talked to himself, stayed up all night. He had been someone who wouldn't hurt a fly, but now threatened to get rid of his children's pets. He was diagnosed with depression with psychotic features, adjustment disorder, anxiety, and borderline personality disorder. In May 2012, Emily filed for divorce. She didn't want that for her or her kids, but she couldn't deal with Mark's behavior or his cheating anymore. She and the kids moved in with her parents, leaving Mark alone in the house on Tyrell Road. Mark got the kids every other weekend. Mark was admitted to a mental hospital again in 2013 and received a diagnosis of paranoid schizophrenia. He felt everyone was against him. He thought Emily and her brother were poisoning his well water. In the summer of 2013, Mark had his kids for 2 weeks. When he was supposed to bring them back to Emily, he didn't show up and told Emily he wouldn't bring them back. Emily's lawyer filed an order of immediate return. Mark was charged with kidnapping and custodial interference. He was found incompetent to stand trial, but the charges were dropped. After that, Mark was only allowed supervised visits with his kids. Mark went to the first visit, but didn't like being supervised, so he stopped seeing his kids. The police got familiar with Mark. One day he walked into the station, and he told police he had killed Mark Latunski with the stroke of a pen. The more Mark's mental status declined, the more extreme his bedroom activities got. He was very into BDSM and violent sex. He basically turned his kids' playroom in the basement into a not-so-kid-friendly playroom. He had straps, whips, chains, blindfolds down there. He used Grindr a lot for hookups. He met Jamie Arnold on the app and they began a relationship. They got married in 2016. In 2018, Mark asked to see the kids again. He hadn't seen them in 4 years. When Emily saw Mark again, he looked like a different person. It didn't seem like he was taking care of himself. Mark had also let the house go to shambles with clutter in every room. In February 2019, Mark was fired from his chemist job due to his erratic behavior. He told people the company was putting dangerous chemicals into the products, and he refused to do it. It's not like his mental status was in a good place to begin with, but it really took a nosedive after he was fired. He stopped seeing his kids because he didn't believe he was their biological father. In September, Jamie moved out of the house.
I got out of there because he was starting to say a lot of very unusual things. That the neighbor was contaminating our well, and I was like, why would he do that? Well, he said, well, they are. You can't drink it, you can't bathe it. I'd wake up and he'd be over me saying that I was a gray, green-eyed tribe leader, and that when the world turned upside down, that my people were going to need me to lead them again, and that he was somehow the leader of the North. And he took me to Dr. Gomez to tell the doctor that I was secreting this toxin when I was sleeping.
Mark started selling himself for money. men paid him to do whatever they wanted.
I put an ad on RentMan, and man, if I can give a massage and somebody's going to pay me, that's more honest money than what I was doing at American Chemical. What they were doing was downright disgusting. It's like massages? Just massages. You know what? I'll spend time with you. Man can't guarantee sex. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So, hey, guess what? I can't sell that. But you want to spend your time with me? Boom. Here's your price.
On December 10th, Mark was arrested for failure to pay child support and released. This brings us to Christmas Eve, when Mark met Kevin for a date, brutally killed him, and ate his body parts. Even though they were separated, Jamie still cared about Mark, so he didn't want Mark to be alone on Christmas Day. Jamie invited Mark over to his apartment for a gathering. I saw a court document that indicated this was a nude gathering. Whatever jingles your bells, you know. On Christmas morning before the gathering, Mark texted Jamie and said, "I had bacon for dinner last night," and the B was capitalized. That is so disturbing. Mark talked about bringing bacon to the gathering that day.
There was something said in a text message about bacon and you wouldn't like it.
When Mark went to Jamie's apartment that afternoon, he seemed normal, or at least normal for Mark.
He never exhibited any signs that anything was wrong.
On December 27th, Jamie picked Mark up and they went to the gym together. Jamie dropped him off at his home around 10:30 p.m., but stayed in the car. Just 3 hours later is when police discovered Kevin's body hanging in Mark's basement. It came to light that Kevin wasn't the first man Mark attacked. He was at least the third. On the night of October 10th, 2019, 48-year-old James Carlson called 911 as he ran down Tyrell Road.
Sorry, Wesley 911, where's your emergency?
This is going to sound insane. I'm here in Detroit. I'm from New York. I met this guy at the bus station who offered me a ride, and I'm not even sure where I am. Well, I broke out of this f***ing basement, and I need a ride.
Okay.
I'm in trouble. I can't even find my way back to his place if I wanted to. I don't know if you can take me a signal. I'm walking down the street with a picture knife, sweetheart. I need help.
Okay, I'm going to get you help.
I'm passing a barn. It's all beautiful here. I don't know what street I'm on. Can you pay where I am?
Okay, it looks like I can. What's your name?
I've never ever had anything like this happen. I don't know whether he drugged me. I don't know. I woke up in the fucking basement. Okay? Chained in the basement with a leather thing around my ankle, and I cut it with the butcher knife that I have in my freaking hand. Excuse my French.
Okay.
When I see a police officer, I will throw it. Until then, I don't trust that he's not walking up because I got lost, and I don't even know if I'm headed towards his house or not.
What are you wearing?
Black jeans, a black hoodie, Jordans. I just want to get out of here, and I want to go home. I don't even care about the legal case I was here for. I'm sorry, I can't help them.
Listen, I've got help on the way. What were you here for?
I'm a volunteer court advocate. I came here to help in the CSC meeting. I was supposed to be meeting them at the bus station. I met this guy. I'm by. He was cute. He hit on me. We went out to the car. We talked. We went to the store. I had a soda. I woke up in the basement.
Okay.
He obviously drugged me.
Okay, when I get a trooper close to you, I'm going to need you to put that butcher knife down, though.
Oh, that's not an issue, sweetie. We'll go flying into the woods.
Okay.
Your officer is in no danger.
Is there anything else on you at all?
Just, I don't even know if I have my cigarettes.
You don't have a bag or anything else?
No, I don't have my bag now, sweetie.
Okay. Okay.
You can run me. You can check me out. Your advocate. I'm sorry, I'm nervous.
It's okay.
Over 26 years. All my friends told me, you know, why are you going to Detroit to help people? What's wrong with you? Because people need help. Look at me.
You're a ways from Detroit.
No, sweetheart, I don't know. I was supposed to be meeting these people in Flint. I met this guy, you know, he seemed like a nice guy. He points outside like he wanted to talk. I go outside. He goes, oh, no, you just started shooting birds. He was cute.
Are you injured at all? Do you think that you need any medical attention?
No, I'm not injured.
Okay.
I'm in a panic right now. Chain is only as good as the weakest link, honey. He had a leather strap to a metal chain. He's an idiot.
Do you know what his name was?
No. And I don't want to pursue it. I want to go home. I went with him of my own free will because I thought he was cute. I'm going to let it go. I don't know what he gave me. I don't know what transpired. And I'm just going to get myself in his test. And I'm going to put this behind me. Okay? Please don't make an incident out of this. Please. I beg you.
It's completely up to you and the officers.
If you go with somebody under your own free will, it's not kidnapping. So technically, he hasn't done anything wrong in the eyes of the law. Just get me the hell out of here so I can go home. That's all I want, ma'am. And I'm sorry if I'm being short, but I think I've had a big choice in my head. I never ever thought this would be me in my life.
Can you see anything, street sign, or what can you see on the street
No,
sign?
ma'am, I'm looking at green fields, and it's really beautiful, and a full moon, and I'm walking this direction. And I'm praying to God I'm not headed back towards his house, because I got twisted around.
Okay, where I'm showing you, the trooper is a little bit away, but when he gets closer, I'm going to need you to put that knife down.
That's no problem, ma'am. I have nothing but respect for the police officers. I've never had a problem with police. I don't know if I'm working towards him, and if he comes walking out, I don't know what to do. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want to be alarmed. It's so real right now. When this settles in, I'm probably not going to be able to function. This is like shit from a movie.
You're positive that you're not hurt at all? You don't need any medical
Oh,
attention?
yes, ma'am, I'm fine. You don't understand. I went over fence. I ran down driveways. I ran all over so much that I'm lost. Excuse my French. I was making sure I wasn't being followed. I don't know whether he's got dogs. I don't know. I don't remember going to his house.
When were you at the bus stop that you met this person?
It happened today.
Okay.
I met him in Flint.
He's advising he does not need any EMS.
No, I don't need nothing. I don't want an incident report. I just really need a ride. Get out of here, please.
The trooper looks like he's not far from where your phone's pinging.
Okay, I'm starting to see lights coming up behind me. They're ways away, though.
Okay.
I will sit this on the guardrail as soon as I can tell nobody's walking behind me. I'm hoping this is a cop, because if it's not, I'm going to be really scared. I'm flagging down whoever this is. So if this is the maniac, you're going to hear some crazy shit. I don't know. I think this is a cop, so I am now putting this down.
Okay.
I am unarmed. It is on the guardrail.
He sees you.
I just want him to know I'm not armed.
He knows.
I'm not armed.
He knows.
Yes, sir, I am. I'm not armed. I'm just really happy to see you. You do whatever you have to do. You're the police. I'm going to hang up on you, okay?
Yep, he'll take good care of you.
James didn't press charges, but in June 2020, he filed a federal lawsuit against Mark for gross negligence, assault, battery, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and false imprisonment. His lawyer said police dropped him off at a gas station with no money or way to get home, and they never followed up with him. The lawyer claimed had James not been gay, police would have handled it differently. But it was revealed in the lawsuit that James lied to police. He had not been in Michigan for work. He met Mark on Grindr and took a bus from New York to Michigan for consensual BDSM sex. But once in Mark's basement, Mark took it too far. He has no right to bash the police because after police dropped him off at a gas station, he called Mark and asked him to pick him up. And then get this, he hung out at Mark's house for a few days before he went back to New York. In February 2022, the lawsuit was dismissed because James' lawyer withdrew and James didn't get another lawyer. During Mark's interrogation, he had told police that after he killed Kevin, he texted a friend in New York and told them about it. That friend was James Carlson.
Part of my culture is if you have an honorable death, then you have to tell somebody before you pass 3 houses. I texted a friend, I killed Kevin Bacon. Kevin Bacon is my hero.
On November 25th, 2019, an unnamed 29-year-old man with purple hair ran down Tyrell Road. He was wearing a leather kilt and his face was bleeding. This man had met up with Mark a few times before for BDSM sex, but this time scared him. Mark told him he was going to keep him captive in the basement. Mark seemed serious about this because he had a makeshift toilet down there. The man was able to escape and call 911.
Charlotte County 911.
I'm trying to get away from some creepy guy. He had me tied up in his basement.
I'm sorry, what's that?
I'm trying to escape from some guy who had me chained up in his basement.
He had you chained in his basement? Where are you calling from?
I don't know. I don't know this road.
Looks like you're on Tyrell Road.
It could be.
Are you walking?
Yeah.
Hold on one
I don't
second.
even have shoes on. I don't know if I should try to go to someone's house. I don't know where I'm at. Chase after me.
Okay, I need you to go somewhere safe. If you can run up to somebody's house.
Help me. Help me.
6'2", he's running towards the house. The guy's trying to come after him. I'm trying to get further. Okay, I need an address where you're at.
What's your address? I'm on the phone with the cops right now.
What's their address? I need their address.
He won't give me the address. Please.
Can you tell me what? I need their address. What is your name?
My name. I'm trying to find someone to help me.
Are you in the road? I have some state troopers that aren't very far away.
I'm on a white house across from like a barn.
Can you see an address on the mailbox?
Yeah. I'm too far away from the mailbox.
I need you to give me an address so I can send the troopers to.
Okay.
Look for a mailbox.
Okay.
Are you on the road?
Yeah, I'm on the road now.
6, 2, and 12. He's running down the road, trying to get an address or a mailbox or something. So it's kind of hysterical. You just see a mailbox and tell me what the address is.
910W.
910?
Yeah.
I think he's in front of 910 West Tyrell.
He's trying to make me hey. Let's see. I'm on the clock. What's your address? Me.
Let me can I talk to whoever you're talking to?
What's your address?
3562 and 12. They're going to be at 910. That's the house they're at, 910. He's talking to a homeowner there. Okay, do you know where the house was at that you were at?
It was not even a mile down the road going, I don't know what way. I see the trooper.
Okay.
I see both of them.
Are you out with the trooper?
No, but I see the trooper right there. Yeah. Trooper is right here.
I hear a pounding at my door at 4 in the afternoon, and I jump up, my dogs are barking, and this kid has his face covered with a rag and a phone to his ear, and he's like, help me, he's after me, just scared to death. A gentleman pulls up in my driveway in a silver SUV, and he gets out, and he's wearing the same getup this guy's wearing, which is a leather skirt and a couple of belts crossing her body, no shoes on, no shirt on, it's 40 degrees out. This kid grabs my arm and clutches behind me, keep him away from me, just scared out of his mind.
Mark said he was chasing the man just because he wanted his $300 kilt back. He left before police arrived and talked to the man.
Dude. Nothing like that happened? No. I'm trying, but... Okay. I'm asking you a straight-up question, my man. Are you looking to press charges from what happened today? Okay, because here's the thing. If we start doing a bunch of investigations and he says, yeah, you know what, man, this guy told me he was into it and all this... Well, hold on, let me just explain this. And we end up doing all kinds of stuff, and you're not willing to do anything about this, then we kind of don't really have a whole lot of any leg to stand on at that point, you know what I mean? So what are you looking to have done out of it today? Okay.
Police went to Mark's house and questioned him.
What can I help you with? Well, I think you probably know why we're here, right? Well, yeah, the goofy guy that I was having with decided to take off with my kill. Okay. He's telling us one side of the story. We want to get yours. Went over to his place a couple of months ago, and then he contacted me and he says, hey, pick me up and I'll come out. I said, well, I got some tile that I need pumped. Okay. I said, then, we can play a little bit. So I picked him up, came over, followed the tile, played around a little bit. Next thing I know, boom. He left his pile of clothes right here. He took my stilt. He's telling me that you wouldn't let him go. You chained him up? Well, I got chained up and stuff, but you had him he could have left at any time. Okay. He never asked to leave, and you had him chained up in the basement? Well, he was here today. Okay. So, yeah. Do I have chains? Yeah. Got a sling. Was this just all like a bunch of role-playing type stuff? Bingo. All right. Exactly. You had no intention of keeping him here forever as a slave in your basement? No. Okay. I've got too much going on for some goofy like that. We've seen one another a couple of times. How many is a couple? Well, I met him at Walmart one day, and then he looked me up and found me and started, went back and forth on the internet for a while, just chatting back and forth. He was pursuing my account. Okay. Not a matter of me looking up him. It's like, what the heck? You want to play for a day? I'll play. No big deal. All right. But as far as him going, that's crazy, I can't explain that at all.
What's your name, sir?
My name is Mark.
Middle name?
David.
And your last?
Latunski.
During his interrogation, Mark was asked about this incident.
He had on my $300 leather kilt, and he's walking across the yard. He found the nicest piece of leatherware. He shimmied into it, and he was going to walk with it. I want my kilt back. When you've got items of fetish nature that are kind of expensive, for something to just disappear like that, no.
After Kevin's murder, Michael Parks told the news that the 29-year-old looked similar to Kevin.
Similar looking people. Maybe he had a certain type. I don't know. It's creepy to think about.
Michigan State Police said there was nothing they could do in the previous cases because neither man wanted to press charges. Even if they had arrested Mark, he probably would have just been held in jail for a little bit and then let out on bail. I've seen cases where police majorly screw up, but I don't think they did here. The way the cop talked to the 29-year-old was a little condescending, but again, I don't think the police failed here. After Mark was arrested for Kevin's murder, he said his name was Edgar Thomas Hill. His Facebook page was under the name Olikos Kai Lucas. He signed a court document as Wilk Olikos Vilkos. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly. On December 30th, 2019, Mark appeared via Zoom for his arraignment and again claimed his name was not Mark Latunski.
Sir, are you Mr. Latunski?
No, my name is Edgar Thomas Hill.
Mark's public defender requested a competency evaluation because he didn't think Mark was in touch with reality. You think?
We're seeking a possible insanity defense. The court granted my motion to send him to the forensic center to be checked for competency.
There has not been a change. In fact, I think he's getting worse. His ability to distinguish what is real and what is not. I think he knows the charges, but because of what's going on with his thinking, and he's not able to help us defend him. Just the other day I talked to him, I had 3 questions for him. It took 45 minutes to kind of get an answer. I'm there to work in his best interest at this point because I don't believe him to be competent.
The public defender claimed Mark had assisted Kevin in ending his own life, which is similar to what Mark told the police during his interrogation. The public defender brought up Kevin's depression as proof, which was a little bit of a dickhead move in my opinion.
There is evidence, which court said wasn't relevant, but there's also evidence on the record of duloxetine, what is an antidepressant.
There was no mention of this in any of the messages between Kevin and Mark before they met. Also, Kevin had specifically asked that Mark would keep him safe. Kevin's family told police, yes, he struggled with mental health, but at the time he was murdered, he was in a good place.
At that time, Kevin was turning his life around. He had some future plans.
The public defender tried to bolster this claim by asking the judge to add a charge of assisted suicide, but the judge denied it. In February 2020, a judge determined Mark was incapable of standing trial. Mark was sent to a psychiatric hospital for treatment. In October 2020, he was deemed capable to stand trial. Mark had a new lawyer at this time, and they pleaded not guilty. His trial kept getting pushed back due to COVID, and in September 2022, against his lawyer's wishes, Mark pleaded guilty to open murder. And he had not been offered a plea deal. The prosecutor said they had too much evidence to even consider offering a plea deal.
I do not wish he had entered a guilty plea. I think that we would have been successful at trial, but we certainly have to accommodate his wishes and respect those.
Did you use a knife to stab Mr. David?
Yes, I did.
Did you remove part of his body, specifically his testicles?
Yes, I did.
A hearing was held to determine which degree of murder Mark would be sentenced with. The judge listened to 2 days of testimony and then entered the conviction as first-degree murder.
The court finds that this is a crime of cold calculation. Kevin Bacon's death was Mark Latunski's design.
On December 15th, 2022, Mark appeared in court to be sentenced. First, advocates read statements written by Kevin's family.
Losing a child is like losing a piece of yourself. After your children are born, you spend years nurturing and teaching them on how to be a good person. With Kevin, we had that taken away from us too early. For the rest of my days, I will wonder what if with Kevin now. I love you so.
The day I learned of Kevin's death, a part of me died with him because he was my first best friend. Kevin was my protector from cruel people who didn't understand me like he did because of the disability that I was born with. Even though Kevin is gone, he is now my forever guardian angel, and I will always cherish our memories together. Mark Latunski is the person responsible for Kevin's untimely death, but I failed to protect Kevin because it was my job as his sister to protect him. There are things that Mark can't ever take away from me, such as a love for cats and dogs, 25 years of pictures and memories, love for a variety of music, love for Coach purses, and Harry Potter, because I shared these common interests with Kevin. The things that I will miss most about Kevin are his beautiful smile, his generous heart. He was my best friend, his love for music, compassion for animals and others, his unique talent for hair, and his love for life. Kevin will never be able to experience any of his future dreams and plans because of meeting his untimely death at the hands of Mark Latunski. Kevin's life was cut way too short, but his memory and generosity will leave an impact on the people he knew and loved throughout his 25 years of life on earth.
Usually you as parents are the first to go be with Jesus, but because of someone who decided to take our son's life, that isn't the case for us. Our family has been torn apart from all the pain and confusion we endured. I don't understand how anyone could want to hurt my son, especially in such a horrific and unbelievable way. He would have done anything for anyone, even if he had to use his last penny. You took our son and my daughter's brother, but you can't take our memories that will be held so closely to our hearts. In your sick, twisted mind, you probably don't think you did anything wrong, but in reality, you took our world away. This Christmas, I hope you suffer like we have. I hope you feel pain as you are all alone with all the years yet to come. We used to go watch movies, make Christmas cookies, go shopping, and go to the deer farm and cook Christmas dinner together as a family. This has all been taken away from us. Our family is broken all because of you, and nothing, not even you behind bars, will ever make our lives better.
Mark Latunski was sentenced to life in prison without parole.
But it'll bring Kevin back. But at least now we got some type of closure.
It can be easy to overlook the family members of a murderer. Most of the time, they are victims too. Emily and the kids received a lot of hate just because they were related to Mark. People told them they had no right to celebrate Christmas after what Mark had done. Emily and the 4 Latunski kids and Jamie are all still affected by everything that happened. They grieve the person Mark was before his mental illnesses took over.
This is not the man I fell in love with and married 5 years ago. Somebody who, when you met, was this kind, gentle soul who turned into this monster. You don't want to believe it. How do you stop loving somebody? Do I love him now? The person he was 5 years ago. This person, no.
The man who committed the crime is not my dad. My dad was loving and never raised his voice at me or my siblings, and never violent. There was never a time where I felt scared or anything, and I couldn't imagine my dad doing something like that. I love the person that he was, not the man who's in prison now.
In early 2020, Mark's home sold through a sheriff's auction. Some people interested in it were interested in it for the actual house and the property, but one person told the news she was interested in it because she was down with gory stuff. The house sold for around $100,000. The new owner said it was just a real estate transaction.
Bought the object, not the subject. Houses don't kill people.
He said he found some interesting things in the house.
3 sets of dishes with human remains on them, and all 3 sets are in the dishwasher.
That guy owned the house for 5 months until Mark's family was able to pay the mortgage and regain possession. In January 2020, family and friends painted a rock in Flint in Kevin's honor. Around the 1-year anniversary of his murder, they painted another one.
Kevin was a very loved person, even to people that didn't even know him. Kevin was a good person. He would help anybody. He'd take the shirt off his back for anyone.
In December 2020, Kevin was given an honorary degree from the University of Michigan, Flint. It was hard for Kevin's mom and sister to go to a new hairdresser because Kevin had always done their hair. Recently, Jenny released a book about her brother.
I just wanted to share with everybody my memories, his friends and family's memories, so that way he's not forgotten as a person instead of wrapped around all the gory stuff. His life matters more than the details. It's still an empty hole in my heart because I lost my only sibling.
When Jenny gets married, she wants to use the theme Kevin had picked out for his wedding as a way to honor him since he won't be there. Jenny said she can't wait to tell her kids all about their Uncle Kevin. Kevin's family struggled in the years following Kevin's murder.
Because of Latunski, we divorced, and it's not been an easy thing to do. I'm trying to cope with my daughter. She blames me. I don't know why, but she blames me for what happened with the divorce and what's happened to Kevin, so she doesn't want to talk with me right now.
Kevin's family and friends hope some good can come from his death. They hope people are more cautious when using dating apps.
Just make sure that when they meet, when they leave, you tell people, other people, who you're meeting with and exactly where you're going. That was our biggest obstacle in this case. Kevin didn't tell us where he was going.
It breaks my heart. I want everybody to just be more aware, think twice about who you're meeting and what you're doing and the information you give and all of that.
I've used dating apps plenty of times, but I would always tell my mom or my sister where I was going, the name of the person I was meeting, what time we were meeting, every detail I could just to be safe. My sister's a little bit of a mother hen, and she would then do a background search on the person, meaning she would try to find them on Facebook. It's really sad that some people look down on Kevin just because of his lifestyle and what he chose to do in the bedroom.
What was released today shows Kevin had a dark side. Those who knew him knew his good side, knew that he loved and cherished everybody. He touched a lot of lives during his short life. It's unfortunate that his dark side is what took his life, and he met the wrong people that took him too soon from us. Do not destroy his reputation. Obviously got into something that
He wasn't prepared
for, and we all make mistakes. We raised a good kid, and he just met the wrong person. And unfortunately, that person took him from us. Is this an empty feeling? You expect to hear from him every once in a while. He used to call us every night, and we don't get that. I think about him every day.
We both.
Yeah, he's always in my thoughts.
Christian says that everything will never be the same for us ever again. He was an angel to us, and he always will be.
Try to move on.
Just remember him the best we can.
Kevin had a brilliant quality in that he never judged anybody and he accepted them for who they were. The world would be a better place if it was filled with more people like Kevin Bacon.
I'm crying 'cause we love you.
That's all I have for this case. I'd love to hear your thoughts below. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.